especially as it pertains to
JD Vance is live in Minnesota speaking. Do we have the link? Let's take a look. I'll dive into that. I'll fucking get into that. I'll cover it. Where's that at? JD Vance is in Murderapolis. Anyone got the link?
Able to do their jobs without being harassed, without being doxxed, and sometimes without being assaulted. That's totally unacceptable. And that's one of the things that I want to send a message to is, yes, come out and protest me, protest our immigration policy, but do it peacefully. If you assault a law enforcement officer, the Trump administration and the Department of Justice is going to prosecute you to the fullest extent of the law.
Shut up,
I wanted
bitch.
to show some support for these guys who, frankly, are operating in a very, very tough environment. I heard a lot of stories today about that I think drives home just how chaotic the environment on the ground here has already gotten. For example, did you know that within the last, I think, week or so, maybe even more recently than that, you had a couple of ICE officers who were off duty, who had been doxxed online, who were sitting and having a meal at a restaurant in Minneapolis when a bunch of agitators showed up, locked the door, made them feel like they were in danger for their lives, and then, of course, it was federal law enforcement officers who had to come up, lower the temperature on the situation, and actually get those two off-duty officers to a point of safety.
Gestapo's fifis were hurt.
If you would,
the Gestapo's fifis were
hurting. And your perspective on law enforcement, if you can't even go to a restaurant without some agitators,
how dare you hurt my feelings, my feelings. I got a boo-boo. Get the fuck out of here, man.
A very, frankly,
that's
far
crazy.
left people,
that's crazy.
But also by some of the state and local law enforcement officials who could do a much better job in cooperating and working. And by the way, I'm not talking about the cops who these guys told me on the ground. The cops are very sympathetic to what they're dealing with.
What the fuck's going on here with this goddamn video?
Elected law enforcement.
What is happening?
Officials who could do a lot better job in making their lives a little bit easier, and in the process, they would make the lives of all Minneapolis residents easier, and that's what we want. We want to be able to enforce the immigration laws on the one hand, while on the other hand, we want to make sure that people in Minneapolis are able to go about their day. And I want to say just one last point on this. So I heard from a business leader today who told me a very tough story, and I think so much of what's gone wrong in Minneapolis is people not trying to understand the perspective of somebody else. Try to understand what somebody else is experiencing, whether they're a law enforcement officer or anybody in the community here in Minneapolis. So they told me a story about this manufacturing facility.
Fake story alert.
Where
fake story alert from sympathetic business owner, small business owner.
Went into the manufacturing facility. All of a sudden, an illegal immigrant shows up. They don't know it's an illegal immigrant. And then a bunch of ICE officers descend. Now, these people just want to go to work. They want to go to work safely. And now, all of a sudden, there's a major law enforcement operation happening right outside their place of business. Now, from one perspective, I certainly understand why a business leader or why an employee would say, whoa, what's going on? It's a little scary, no matter your position in life, if a bunch of cop cars show up and they're arresting somebody. Now, the additional context is that we know that people online have been encouraging illegal immigrants that one way they can evade arrest is by showing up at a legitimate place of business, making it impossible for these guys to actually enforce our immigration laws. So while I can understand the perspective of somebody who doesn't want to see an arrest happen at their place of work, I can also understand the perspective of our immigration enforcement officers who have to do their job and can't allow a heckler's veto over our immigration enforcement. And so much of what's gone wrong is the failure to do that. And here's the point. We can do a good job of enforcing our immigration laws without the chaos, but it actually requires the cooperation of state and local officials. If you look at blue cities and blue states, red cities and red states, you go to Austin, Texas, or Memphis, Tennessee. You go to the state of Texas, obviously a very red state, or the state of Tennessee, a very red state, but you've got blue cities within those states, you do not have this level of chaos. The reason why things have gotten so out of hand is because of failure of cooperation between the state and local authorities and what these guys are trying to do. We have a ton of resources, a ton of ICE agents in this city right now that I would rather us not have. I'd love to send those guys home. They're not even doing targeted immigration enforcement. They are trying to protect ICE officers who are doing immigration enforcement, because when a crowd surrounds them and these guys call 911, the local officials, the local cops have been told to stand down.
Then leave. You're a bitch. You're a bitch. By the way, this is literally reverse Tim Walz, okay? This is part of the reason why I think J.D. Vance sucks and will never make it, okay? Because he's far too liberal coded, okay? The way he tries to, like, justify this through legal language and tries to fucking reach out to the hearts and minds of, like, liberals, like, no, man, you can't do fucking fascist standpoint theory from the perspective of the Gestapo, okay? Excuse me, you're doing a bodies in spaces. Have you realized how toxic your behavior is when you got ICE agents that are trying to conduct door knocking operations in your neighborhood? Like, that's so... Stop bitching. Stop fucking bitching. Just leave. Just fuck off and leave. Okay?
The temperature and lower the chaos. That's a problem. Here's another example.
Does J.D. Vance know jester maxing is the new meta? He should be having fun instead of trying to do the stiff arm move. He should be doing jester maxing, just clowning and having a good time.
We have a criminal migrant who is a sex offender. And let's say that we've got to go and arrest that person who, Democrat or Republican, wants a...
Cops. That's who arrest that person, not ICE. There is already a fucking function of law enforcement, okay? If there is a sex offender... And by the way, wouldn't be talking about sex offenders if I was J.D. Vance. Let's be fucking real. Donald Trump is the president right now. But like, and he is protecting all of the elite pedophiles. But having said that, if there's a sex offender that must be arrested, cops do that, okay? Not ICE. The entire point of ICE is not to actually arrest anybody, really, is to handle paperwork violations, okay?
And try to find where this criminal sex offender is today. The local authorities have been told, do not cooperate. So these guys are trying to go out and enforce the law. They're trying to arrest sex offenders, but they're trying to do it in an environment where local officials have been told, do not help them, do not provide intelligence about where these sex offenders might be. This is disgraceful. And there are a lot of things that all of us could do better to lower the temperature, but the number one thing that I learned today is that the best way to facilitate reasonable enforcement of the law, but also to lower the chaos in Minneapolis, would be for state and local officials to cooperate. Now, I will say, on one final positive note, I actually think that there's some hope, some reason to think that there's going to be better cooperation in the weeks and months to come. I think that because I've talked to some of the local officials here. I think there are reasons to believe that these people are going to step up and actually ask the cops to protect our ICE officers when they're being assaulted, who are going to ask the local courts to cooperate with getting criminal sex offenders out of our community. That's a good thing. That's the good news, and that's something I'm going to work on when I get back to Washington. But please, if you're a local official, if you're the mayor of this town, if you have any influence over those people, just tell them to cooperate. Because we could have immigration enforcement operate as smoothly and without the chaos that we see in Austin, Texas, or Memphis, Tennessee, or even rural parts of the state of Minnesota. All we need is a little cooperation. I guarantee we're going to do the best to be professional, to respect people's rights, to not do anything that we don't have to do in order to enforce immigration laws, but it would make our lives
37-year-old lady in the face
a lot safer, and it would make Minneapolis much less chaotic if we had a little bit of cooperation from the state and local officials. With that, I'll shut up and take some questions. Thank you, guys.
Vice President Vance, a local school district here is alleging I.C.E agents taking a...
Bro, they're putting fucking him on Kamala alert, by the way. He's doing janitorial duties right now. This is Trump is literally making him oversee the least popular aspects of this admin. It's awesome. It's awesome.
Well, I'm proud of the fact that we're standing behind
just as Joe Biden gave the borders our duty to Kamala Harris, which was like the least popular position you could be in if you're, working in a Democratic administration. The vice presidential job here is very important. If you think J.D. Vance is going to be the leader of this movement when you're done, because you ate too many aspirins or because you got too tired to be president and you want to retire in I don't know, Saudi Arabia or whatever. Like, if you think J.D. Vance is going to be continuing the movement, you shouldn't be making him do this shit. This is shit cleanup job.
Alien father, the father ran. So the story is that ICE detained a 5-year-old. Well, what are they supposed to do? Are they supposed to let a 5-year-old child freeze to death? Are they not supposed to arrest an illegal alien in the United States of America? If the argument is that you can't arrest people who have violated our laws because they have children, then every single parent is going to be completely given immunity from ever being the subject of law enforcement.
He's literally
That doesn't make any
saying
sense. No
the
one thinks
5-year-old
that
was
makes sense.
detained as bait
You
to
know,
draw
there's so many
out the
cases
father,
like
and
that
that's
where
good.
you
What are
just
we
understand
supposed to
the
do? Not
context.
do that? Yeah,
There's
the
a
answer is
number of
yes, you
situations
fucking
that I've
asshole.
looked into personally where I say, wait a second. We don't want ICE arresting American citizens. They're supposed to be enforcing the immigration laws against illegal aliens. So then I look into it and I find out that the American citizen who was arrested took a swing at an ICE officer. You can't have that happen. And of course they have to defend themselves. And of course they have the right to detain somebody who assaults a law enforcement officer. Now, this is my point. Do we want these things to happen? Do we want these arrests to be so chaotic? No, we don't. These guys want it least of all, but if we had a little cooperation from local and from local and state officials, I think the chaos would go way down in this community.
President!
Go ahead.
After the Renee Good shooting, sir, the administration seemed to suggest...
Yeah, well, you can go next.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
thought you pointed it
No,
out.
that's fine. I'll take both.
After the Renee Good shooting, sir, the administration seemed to... After the Renee Good shooting, the administration seemed to suggest that ICE officers enjoyed near complete immunity. But today you told the Washington Examiner that when appropriate, the administration might take disciplinary actions against ICE agents. So is that a change of opinion? And if so, why the change in tone?
No, I didn't say, and I don't think any other official within the Trump administration said that officers who engaged in wrongdoing would enjoy immunity. That's absurd. What I did say is that when federal law enforcement officers violate the law, that is typically something that federal officials would look into. We don't
said
want these
absolute
guys to
immunity,
have
JD.
kangaroo courts. We want them to actually have real due process, real investigation, because again, sometimes they're accused of wrongdoing, and it turns out when you learn the context, they didn't actually do anything wrong. But of course we're going to investigate these things. Of course we're investigating the Renee Good shooting, but we're investigating them in a way that respects people's rights and that ensures that if somebody did something wrong, yes, they're going to face disciplinary action, but we're not going to judge them in the court of public opinion. I've spoken at length on this particular case. I think that Renee Good's death is a tragedy. I also think that she rammed an ICE officer with her car. So the tragedy here is multi-layered. The tragedy is there was a misunderstanding. The tragedy is that Renee Good lost her life. The tragedy is that you have ICE officers who are going into communities where they're worried that if they call 911, no one's going to come to help them. That is what produces.
Yeah, those are varying degrees of different tragedies. It's like saying, well, you know, the Holocaust was a tragedy. Also, I stubbed my toe the other day while I was going to kill someone. Like, those are not comparable levels, okay? One is a fucking unlawful murder of an American citizen. The other is ICE getting scared
Kids have to get caught
when
up
they're
in this. I'm
engaging in
speaking at
unlawful
March for Life tomorrow.
actions.
I'm pro-life, and I'm very excited to speak there. I want to talk about local law enforcement, but, you know, I mean, look, I am... As a child, I saw people in my family get arrested. It's terrible. It's heartbreaking. It's chaotic. It's traumatic for the kids. I can recognize that, and I can recognize that we got to support these kids, while on the other hand saying that just because you're a parent doesn't mean that you get complete immunity from law enforcement. And I think we have to hold both of those thoughts in our head at the same time. We've got to be sympathetic to the kids who are caught up in some of these enforcement actions. We've also got to say we have to enforce the law without bias, with fairness, but we've got to enforce the law.
JD Vance said,
Mr. Vice President!
JD Vance said, listen, I'm an adult, but I was once a child too. And as a former child, I think it's okay to detain children right now, to lure out their fathers and lure out whoever else you want to lure out in an effort to detain all of them and deport them.
St. Cloud. Yeah.
After the incident, the mayor said that ICE did not communicate with them that they were in the city for a major operation. The police
Sorry,
chief did not know
5-year-old
about the
baby,
operation at
you
the
broke
time.
the law.
Could you talk a little bit about proactive communication with local law enforcement?
Yeah, it's one of the takeaways. I've talked with these guys before we came on the stage, but during our roundtable and some of the other conversations we've had, communication, we absolutely want to ensure there's good communication between federal officials and state
moral
and local
Hasan.
officials, and I'm sure that we can do better on that. We absolutely want to make sure that we
This
are
is my favorite.
communicating.
Okay,
That
where
also
you know
requires
woke is
people on the
back
street, and that's
because now these guys have turned back to the, oh, you're just virtue signaling. Like, we've gotten back to 2016 era idiotic conversations where it's like, I recognize that you're actually signaling that you're a moral person and that my side is actually immoral in this conversation. So instead of entertaining the notion that maybe my side is doing something unimaginably wrong, I'm just going to turn around and say, you're such a bitch, dude. You're such a bitch for thinking that ICE agents shouldn't fucking detain little babies, 5-year-old babies, in an effort to lure out a bunch of family members so they can do a dragnet operation in a fucking house. I know. Imagine, close your eyes and imagine China doing that or something, okay? And then you can maybe have a consistent position on it. Fucking idiot. These are the same people that go, oh, if our state is doing it, then it's, then it's actually good. Like, think about it, dude. Conservatives literally will be like, oh, what about the Uyghur Muslims? And meanwhile, we're doing like Xinjiang shit in fucking broad daylight in America in your backyard. And you're like, nah, it's awesome.
How much is this tactic being used?
Yeah, so I saw that story, and the story is like so much that I read in the mainstream media, it's missing a whole lot of context, and when you appreciate the context, it makes sense. No one is saying, look, there are exceptions. For example, a crazy exception, if somebody is fired at from inside a house, they don't need a warrant to go inside that person's house. There are very narrow exceptions to the warrant requirement where law enforcement officers don't need a...
Yeah, a fucking serving someone paperwork is not a justification to violate the Fourth Amendment. It's not the equivalent of being shot at. Yeah, no shit.
Really has proposed in the Department of Justice is that we can get administrative warrants to enforce administrative immigration law. Now, it's possible, I guess, that the courts will say no, and of course, if the courts say no, we would follow that law, but nobody is talking about doing immigration enforcement without a warrant. We're talking about different types of warrants that exist in our system.
Yes.
Typically what happens...
An administrative warrant is nothing. It's nothing. It's like a McDonald's manager, okay? What the fuck do you mean? That doesn't mean anything. It's not a valid warrant to actually go into someone's home. And everyone knows this. You went to law school. You were a JAG lawyer. You know that it's not fucking legal. Shut the fuck up.
But we're never going to enter somebody's house without some kind of a warrant, unless, of course, somebody's firing on an officer or they have to do something in order to protect themselves.
Follow up on that. Do you believe that you can forcibly enter with an administrative warrant, or would that be a violation of the Fourth Amendment?
Well, our understanding is that you can enforce the immigration laws of the country under an administrative order if you have an administrative warrant. That's what we think. That's our understanding of the law. That's our best faith attempt to understand the law.
God, he's trying.
Again, this is something
dude, this is what I mean. Just say, of course we're going to do it. Like Trump would be like, of course we're going to do it. What the fuck are you going to say? Due process is too difficult to follow.
It's done through the administrative law system. We're going to continue that practice.
It's not a legal gray area, guys.
Or any other
JD Vance knows it's not a legal gray area. He's making it seem like it's a legal gray area. It's not. It is a clear-cut violation of the constitutional protections afforded to every single person on U.S. soil, whether documented, undocumented, whether natural-born U.S. citizen or naturalized U.S. citizen or not. This is a matter of constitutional law. He knows that it is illegal. He knows. He's like, oh, well, I signed a piece of paper that said I'm the best boy, so obviously you have to follow through on that piece of paper that I signed on my own. Get the fuck out of here.
The federal government to use the military for local law enforcement operations. Right now, we don't think that we need that. Now, the president could change his mind. Of course, things could get worse. But right now, we think that federal law enforcement officers can do the job of federal law enforcement. Now, what I do worry about, again, is if the chaos gets worse, if more and more ICE agents start getting assaulted, if other law enforcement officers start getting assaulted, that would be a real problem. But again, we have so much federal law enforcement resources here right now. We have so many people here that we do not want to have here. I do not want so many ICE officers in Minneapolis right now. I mean, good Lord, it's really, really freaking cold outside. But they're here not even to enforce immigration laws, but to protect the people from the rioters. That's an absurd state of affairs, and we wouldn't need it if we had a little bit more cooperation from the Minneapolis Police Department. Again, the Minneapolis Police Department, my understanding is that the actual beat cops on the ground, they would love to help out, but they're being told by somebody, I don't know if it's Mayor Frey, they're being told by somebody not to cooperate at all. What kind of a person tells their local police don't protect somebody if they're being assaulted by a rioter? It's crazy, and it's got to stop. Yes.
Earlier this week, local law enforcement accused federal agents of racial profiling. Why are there so many U.S. citizens being caught up in this operation?
Well, I think your question assumes something that's not necessarily in evidence, which is that when there are American citizens who have been caught up in some of these enforcement operations, very often it is people who have assaulted a law enforcement officer. They're not being arrested because they violated the immigration laws. They're being arrested because they punched a federal law enforcement officer. That is a totally reasonable thing. Now, to the accusation of racial profiling, look, it's something that we take very seriously. We will take accusations of racial profiling back to Washington. We'll certainly look into them as they come up.
The accusation came from cops.
That's going around and looking for
I feel
people
like
who
they know
violated
racial
the law based
profiling
on
when
skin
they
color.
see it. You know,
looking for people who violate.
it's like getting yelled at by like the legion of pedophiles for engaging in pedophilia. Okay, like this is the thing that they do. All right, big dog. When a fucking off-duty cop says, "Hey, I'm being racially profiled," I'm gonna take that seriously because they know from their own day-to-day experiences what racial profiling looks like because they're the kings of racial profiling. Okay.
Then the local officials say, "Oh my God, these guys are doing widespread targeted enforcement operations," when in reality, we would love to just go to one house. The local officials won't.
Also, we've seen the videos where like the most Hispanic man wearing a mask is talking to another Hispanic American being like, "Where are your fucking papers?" And the guy goes, "Why are you asking me that?" And the dude goes, "'Cause you have a fucking accent." I'm sorry.
Is that a concern?
We've seen the fucking videos. We know they're doing racial profiling. The Supreme Court actually defended that racial profiling.
Officers are being targeted, and they described it as, quote, civil rights violations in our streets.
So I saw one story about this and one local police officer who said this. And look, certainly is it a concern? Absolutely. The first thing we have to figure out is whether it happened or not. And then if it happened, whether there is a good explanation or a bad explanation. And of course, if somebody violated the law, if somebody racially profiled, if somebody violated the rights of one of our fellow citizens, that is something we will take very seriously. What I also would say is that many of the most viral stories of the past couple of weeks have turned out to be, at best, partially true. So we want to try people based on reality, based on the truth, based on context. We're not going to prejudge people just because of viral social media story that turned out to be half false.
Mr. Vice President, a quick question about the roundtable you just had. I presume that happened. Did you invite anybody with an opposing point of view to get an idea of why people are upset here? And just as a quick follow-up, have you reached out to Governor Walz at all in an attempt to turn down the temperature?
So I haven't talked to Governor Walz on this particular trip. A number of members of our administration, I believe our chief of staff, spoke to the governor and has been in constant contact with his staff over the past week. We've been in my office in constant contact with people here on the ground in Minneapolis. There were certainly people at our roundtable with opposing views, and look, I don't even know, whether it's public, but yes, we met with people with opposing views here at the roundtable. I wanted to get a perspective from everybody, but also, of course, offer my opinion that with a little bit more cooperation, we could lower the chaos. We're going to keep on doing that. If Governor Walz wants to call me, we'll absolutely continue talking. I will say that my sense of this situation, having talked to these guys for a long time, is this is primarily a law enforcement issue. This is the Attorney General. This is the local mayor. This is all of the organs of local.
It's pretty crazy that he's saying this. Meanwhile, the Department of Justice has already launched false cases on every single local politician.
Been really helping out.
Like they are doing lawfare on the one hand and doing like illegal domination,
locally, and this
like a domestic occupation with a federal agency that's completely out of control on the other hand.
Cities from here.
Well, right now we're focused on Minneapolis because that's where we have the highest concentration of people who have violated our immigration laws, and that's also, frankly, where we see the most assault of our law enforcement officers. I mean, our plan is very simple. If you assault a federal law enforcement officer, we're going to do everything that we can to put you in prison. It's very simple. And most of these protesters,
exiled Reddit mod's
as
brother
much as I may
talking?
disagree with their politics, most of them have
Oh my
been
God, you're right.
peaceful. But
This
a
is
lot of them
literally
have not been.
the Reddit moderator, but with more hair.
If you go and insult a federal law enforcement
actually,
officer, we're going to try very hard.
if you
We'll
hurt
use
our
every
ICE agents'
resource of the federal
feelings,
government
we
to
will
put you
kill
in
you.
prison. Respect people's rights. Respect people's rights to worship. Respect people's rights to do their job without being assaulted. If you follow that basic principle, the Trump administration is doing everything that we can to protect your rights. But if you go after somebody, if you assault somebody, if you make a 9-year-old girl cry because you walked into her church and harassed her, we're going to go after you with every single tool that we have.
You just defended the cop. You just defended the ICE agents detaining a 5-year-old to kidnap a bunch of other people. What are we talking about? Oh, a 9-year-old was crying in a church. Bro, shut the fuck up. Y'all literally do ICE raids on churches. You arrest pastors. What the fuck are you saying?
America. Significant reductions in violent crime. The reason why we have less violent crime is really two reasons. Number one, because we're enforcing.
Bro, they're doing ICE raids on schools. They're tear gassing children, and then they turn around and go, a 9-year-old's feelings were hurt. A 9-year-old's feelings were hurt when people were protesting a fucking ICE field office guy who also happens to be a fucking pastor. Suck my dick. You're out of your dang mind, brother.
We can to lower the temperature, and we would like federal and state and local officials to meet us halfway. So much so.
Are you saying that they're not perceiving it correctly? Are you saying that they're not seeing that it's the tactics or the presence of the officers that are?
Look, I'm sure that people are seeing a lot of things that would make any member of our national community feel very upset. But I also think that if you understand this in context, this is the inevitable consequence of a state and local government that have decided that they're not going to cooperate with immigration enforcement at all. In fact, they're going to aggressively not cooperate. So here's a basic illustration of this. If you are an ICE officer and you have to arrest a person who's committed assault and is also an illegal alien, but the state and local officials won't help you identify that person, many of the things that people in Minneapolis are seeing that give them pause, that frustrate them, that worry them, that make them feel like things are too chaotic, many of these things are coming from the fact that there's no cooperation.
I think his style is so fucking insufferable. I can't get over it. It's always like he's trying to say Heil Hitler in the nerdiest, most like liberal coded way possible, and I can't stand it. Like, there are different types of villains in this administration. Like, Stephen Miller is just straight up trying to do like Adolf Hitler speeches, but he's such a fucking wormy little nerd that he's like, we must secure a meaningful existence for our white children. That's right. And like JD Vance does something even worse than that, in my opinion. Like if Stephen Miller is like the soy Reich, JD Vance is like, has adopted the language of the worst academic liberalism while trying to justify heinous crimes against humanity. Like, everything is Failenial speak. Everything he does is like, actually. I hate it. I hate it so much.
And the mayor's offices, but why have you not been able to speak to them directly? Have they not been willing to do so?
Well, look, I have spoken to some of the people in Minnesota directly. I spoke to some of them today. I've spoke to others in the past. And again, our staff has been in very direct contact with pretty much every official with any influence or any power in Minneapolis. But no, we're not trying to send a political message. We're trying to enforce the law.
Like, guys, we have to do this. We have to kill you. We have to go door to door and demand your papers. Actually, have you heard of law and order? Like, that's what he's doing
across the United States of America. There's been a very unique, very Minneapolis-specific reaction to our enforcement of federal immigration laws. What I'm trying to do here today,
unfortunately, this shit works on conservative-leaning liberals. They wouldn't really care about immigration in the past, but now they're saying shit like maybe these illegals are a drain on us. No,
I don't need Tim Walz,
you're
Jacob
so
Frey, or
wrong.
anybody else to come out and say
that is literally not reading the room at all. No, conservative-leaning liberals are way more horrified at the prospect of the federal government doing this kind of like genuine domestic occupation. Are you kidding me? No, the polls do not show that reality at all, with the exception of the most psychopathic coalition that you have ever seen in this goddamn country, Republicans, of course. With the exception of Republicans, ICE's approval ratings are underwater with everyone. Independents are saying fuck ICE. Democrats are saying fuck ICE. The only people that are saying we love ICE is like 58% of Republicans, which is kind of low, honestly, even for Republicans in general. So like, no, most people are looking at the situation and seeing the horror that you're all seeing.
Right, pepper balls. Beyond that, what is the federal government's role in turning down the temperature?
You're losing
Minnesota
even
Department of
conservatives right
Corrections
now because
says
like
that its own officers have been cooperating with ICE all along, handing over criminals once they serve their sentences to ICE officials. Can you concede that there is some cooperation with the state?
Yeah, look, if
you're
I was
wrong.
to list the 5 agencies,
brother. You can say I'm wrong all day, every day, but the fucking polling shows a different reality. Okay. The polls show a different fucking reality. Yeah, you got majority everywhere across the board saying that ICE's presence in communities is more harmful than helpful, okay? You got the Emerson poll that just came out, where 57%, the majority think ISIS presence in communities is more harmful than beneficial. Poll released 9 hours ago. But the poll I'm referencing is another recent poll that just came out, where ISIS approval ratings are underwater as an agency with everyone, with the exception of Republicans. This is what I was actually trying to show you. ISIS net approval is minus 27 for all, with Democrats is minus 91%, which is why the Democratic Party not actually taking fucking a more stringent approach, more strict approach to ICE and punishing ICE is insane to me, but expected because they're fucking pussies. Independents at minus 41%. With black people, it's minus 71%. With Hispanic people, it's minus 41%, which, by the way, this will never not be funny. I'm sorry. Oh, my fucking God. Like, that's why I laugh whenever you see, like, another federal agent being like, I'm a Black Panther Party member, and actually, ICE is not our deal. We don't care about ICE. It's like, you're not. You're a federal law enforcement officer that is undercover, that is presenting himself as a fucking Black Panther person. You're not Black Panther Party material. Let's be fucking real, okay? You can't even abide by the anger that black people feel towards this kind of federal incursion in every community in black and brown neighborhoods. You're just trying to do fucking propaganda. Anyway, white people is at minus 15%, which is expected. But even then, look at that. White people at minus 15%. That's crazy. This is the most reactionary subgroup in the fucking country, and it's at minus 15% approval. Okay? Net disapproval overall, except for, ding, 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 Republicans at plus 58%. This is what I was talking about. Okay? There is a very real fissure in this country where the overwhelming majority of this nation state is frustrated with Trump, is frustrated with their economic conditions not improving, is frustrated with what Trump is doing, all this like fuck shit overseas where they're like, why do I care about fucking taking Greenland? Suck my dick. I don't care. Fix the prices, right? And then on top of that, when they see this kind of domestic maneuvering, when they see the federal law enforcement agencies, like heavily militarized federal law enforcement agents coming in and going door to door, demanding to see people's papers, they go, what the fuck is happening? This sucks. This sucks so much dick. With the exception of Republicans. And the fact that only Republicans are at plus 58 approval for ICE means that even Republicans are actually now saying enough is enough about ICE. Do you understand? You spoke with one of the 58% of Republicans just yesterday, the Bobs of the world? Yes. And with like 3 fucking questions, even the most ultra MAGA guy like Bob was willing to concede on key issues like education, free education. Even though he was like resilient, even though he was resistant, he was understanding. He was open-minded to that, even with healthcare. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. And Bob is a unique figure. Bob is ultra MAGA. He's the most MAGA, right? And a lot of you have a family member like Bob, and that's the reason why. And that's the reason why you think. That's the reason why you think everyone is like Bob. Every MAGA person is like Bob. They are 20% of the country, okay? They are 20% of the country. This is true. 20% of the country, give or take, is like Bob. That's insane. That's insane. 20% of the country is in a fucking cult, okay? There's no other way to put it. Having said that, that's only 20% of the country, okay? And it's not only 20% of the country, but it's also a 20% of the nation that is fairly old for the most part, or, you know, some of them are lumpen proles. Haley posted that you made some headway with her parents. I never thought when my family and I started the Necessary Conversation pod that we'd be invited to chat with Hasan, the Piker, but here we are. My team watched live from the Hive today. I actually think Hasan made some headway with my parents. I'm indebted. Now we could send some Hive merch to our favorite political commentator. See, I told you. I mean, they probably will go back to the same business as usual politics when push comes to shove. But remember, it doesn't even matter, right? It doesn't even matter because it's only fucking 20% of citizens. No, not even voters. I would say 20% of citizens in this country. I'm being as open-minded to like how large this group is. So if you're constantly surrounded by people that are representatives of that 20%, you think everyone is like this. Every right-winger is like this. Most right-wingers outside of that 20%, you can have a conversation with and get them to understand that it's completely ridiculous what the Trump administration is doing. Okay? What does that black statistic mean? I am just wondering. What do you mean? It means black people are more woke than everyone on average all the time, regardless of what the fucking media tries to present it as. That's it. There was never a moment where black people in the United States of America were going to be on board with ICE agents going door to door demanding to see fucking papers of other black Americans of Somali descent. Like, not even just black Americans of Somali descent, but like anyone for that matter. That's it. Yeah, woke was literally created by black people. Exactly. It's just so stupid that you see all this stuff where like you do see an expression of I think upper middle class black liberalism on Twitter quite a bit, and there is this like academic liberalism that comes from some black liberals in general that are doing well by and large, and that's all you hear from like root.com article writers and stuff like that will say like, you know, misogynoir is a real problem. Like it's the biggest problem like in the black community, and it's mostly being championed by black men who are violent and aggressive. Like shit like that gets recycled all the time, that gives white liberals a permission structure to also shit on black men. Like people that have that kind of mentality are the ones you only fucking hear from, and that's not the case at all. Okay? That's not the case at all. That's not how this works. There's 0% chance that that black people are going to see what this government is doing currently and go, yeah, no, this is not exactly what we have fought for in the past, like our, you know, grandparents fought for to give us a crumb of civil liberties. It's just stupid. That's why I always tell you guys, do not fucking pay attention to like people who are saying like, oh, well, I didn't vote. I voted for Kamala Harris. You know, those are the Free Palestine voters are bullshit. Like, I'm tired. Black people are tired. Like, all that stuff is ridiculous. Black people have always been at the forefront of social justice in this fucking country, okay? Always. Historically, out as a matter of survival. And that survival instinct has not gone away because the conditions have not changed. Certainly they've improved, but they haven't changed. So whenever someone tries to say like, oh, as a black person, we're staying out of this. We voted for Kamala Harris. We're staying out of this. It's like, you're not a white woman in the suburbs. Like you can try and stay out of it, or you can try to get other people to also join in on the we're staying out of this meta, but it's not going to happen. Most black people are not going to stay out of it, okay? Because they recognize this is a matter of survival. White supremacy impacts everyone, okay? We aren't a monolith. Yes, black people, of course, are not a monolith. But if there's one thing that is almost monolithic of contemporary black existence or historical black existence in American society, it is understandably fighting against white supremacy. Because it's a mechanism of survival. Anyway, Open Presence, thank you for another 100 gifted subs. Thanks, chatter. Thank you for purposely misrepresenting this take. No one is a monolith, and black people aren't a monolith either, but they are all black. And if you're black in a white supremacist country, then obviously you're going to have a very different understanding of white supremacy because you've experienced it. That's it. Anyway, you're doing the whole butt thing. No, I'm not. It's not. No, it's common fucking sense, chatter. What are you talking about? Every black person is black. And therefore, every black person will be at some point, whether inadvertently, whether they recognize it or not, and most people do recognize it, victims to white supremacist systems, white supremacist constructs. That's just how it works. Okay? I'll give you a great example of this. Candace Owens. Candace Owens is a white supremacist through and through, right? Like, she does white supremacist commentary. She is a white supremacist. That's her output. That's what she does for the most part. Now, that might have changed a little bit in the recent years, but like, that's what she did her entire career. Candace Owens also was a victim of a hate crime when she was growing up. She actually successfully sued the Connecticut Board of Education because she was victim to a hate crime that caused her to have an eating disorder. Okay? I don't see color unlike Hasan. I have no clue if I'm black or not. Anyway. LARPers are about to jump in this, pretending that they're black and have a counterpoint. Please ignore them. Yeah, I will. I will continue to ignore them, just as I've always ignored when people were like, well, you don't understand. Black people are tired. They're done. They're done with this conversation. they're seeing themselves out of this conversation. Okay, well, the conversation is not seeing them as people outside of the conversation. Something I noticed in that conversation is Republicans are fed their talking points by state-run media like Fox and Newsmax, and most of the people aren't just equipped to combat that messaging since there's no real opposition media. Yes. Well, that's the role I try to play to the best of my ability. Anyway, Nikema Levy Armstrong arrested after disrupting Minnesota church service.
An activist who led an anti-immigration enforcement protest that disrupted a Minnesota church service has been arrested. Attorney General Pam Bondi announced the arrest of Nikema Levy Armstrong in a post on X on Thursday. Protesters entered the city's church in St. Paul on Sunday.
You are a fake pastor.
A local official with U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement
Yeah, they did a fucking AI image too, by the way. It appears that the White House edited this image using AI. Homeland Security investigators and FBI agents arrested Nikema Levi Armstrong, who played a key role in orchestrating the church riots in St. Paul, Minnesota. She's being charged with a federal crime. Looks like the White House and certain DOJ officials are busy teeing up a motion on prejudicial, extrajudicial statements this morning, and they literally fucking AI slopped her face to make her look like she was crying. I mean, it's not the most significant aspect of this. It's not the most significant problem here, but it's just like crazy that they just keep doing this over and over again. It's so fucking annoying. Kash Patel tweeted out all three of the arrests. Every last individual who allegedly targets our brave federal law enforcement, targets places of worship, or in any way pays for or facilitates such illegal activity will be pursued and will be caught. Yeah, unless you're Jeffrey Epstein, in which case we will hide all of the Jeffrey Epstein co-conspirators. What is this? This is what Zach does to you all the time. It's so odd. Yeah, I think if you have the brain of a 4-year-old, this is the type of shit that you enjoy, like the AI, like AI face swap or whatever. I guess like maybe it's just a way to have power over someone, right? In your mind. I don't know why people do it. I find it very strange. I don't really care when it's done to me. Who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? It is strange though. Also, they wanted to go after Don Lemon, but the judge did not allow that to happen. A federal magistrate judge rejected a complaint against Don Lemon in connection with the Minneapolis church protest, finding it lacked probable cause. Attorney General Pam Bondi was enraged by the decision. A person familiar with the matter said, like, good luck prosecuting Don Lemon. I mean, he's doing his job as a fucking journalist in that situation. He's protected under the First Amendment. For the record, they'll still keep pursuing Don Lemon, make no mistake, but it goes to show it's just for fun, right? All of this stuff that's happening, all of this stuff that's going on is just cruelty for the sake of cruelty. It's just, bread and circuses, especially when there's no bread. All you got is circuses, right? And that's what they're doing.
Serves as a pastor there, and Nikema Levy Armstrong has called for him to resign.
How can you be a pastor of a church, but overseeing ICE agents in the field? ICE out now!
There have been almost nonstop demonstrations in response to the January 7th death of 37-year-old Renee Good by an ICE officer in Minneapolis, along with the Trump administration's immigration crackdown nationwide.
I am here to stand in solidarity with the people.
Nikema Levy Armstrong is no stranger to activism in the Twin Cities area. She's a civil rights attorney who's helped lead local protests after high-profile police-involved killings of Black Americans, including George Floyd. He died in 2020 after being pinned to the ground by Minneapolis police officers, which sparked massive protests. She's also the former president of the NAACP's Minneapolis branch. Vice President J.D. Vance addressed the arrest at an event in Ohio.
They're scaring little kids who are there to worship God on a Sunday morning those people are going to be sent to prison so long as we have the power to do so.
It's not immediately clear what charge or charges Levy Armstrong faces.
So how dare somebody claim to be a pastor while overseeing evil?
Now, this is breaking news from the WCCO Live Desk on CBS News Minute.
Cal's going to be doing over-unders on American casualties in Iran. Soldiers will be slamming out their commanding officers to secure their beds. Oh, dystopian future is here. It is here and it is now. Oh, my Lord. Yeah, as far as this church protest goes, I can't even begin to give a single shred of a fuck. This is very clearly like Republicans looking for a place of victimhood once again. I don't even think many Americans care about this either. Like, I think this is just something that Republicans are talking about, but even most Republicans don't even care about it. Like, it's not, I don't know. I don't think this is like a real, like, I think this is what the Republicans are trying to turn into like a big deal that everyone should be mad about or offended. But I think if you have two functioning brain cells, you look at the situation and you're like, okay, the fucking pastor is a ICE pastor. Yeah, I think that's way worse, especially at a time when ICE is already doing targeted raids outside of fucking churches, outside of schools, and gassing American citizens that are protesting. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it $1.50. Don't give a fuck about this. Free this lady. Free all these people. You're out of your fucking mind. Martin Luther protested at a church. They are literally Protestant, Lamau. I mean, Jesus also fucking protested outside of a synagogue, no? Didn't Jesus also protest in a place of worship? Inside a place of worship? He beat people. He stormed it and fucked it up. Flipping tables and stuff. No.
Minnesota.
I'm Maria Lizignoli, and we start with breaking news just into our newsroom this morning. A local activist and a
Jesus went in, flipped tables, and whipped moneylenders. Oh, man. Attorney General Pam Bondi would fucking brutalize Jesus in an El Salvador prison, dude. I swear.
St. Paul school board member who founded Black Lives Matter Twin Cities have been
I'm moving on from this. Let's talk about the real shit that ICE is doing, okay? And not this fake shit that these dumbass Republican dipshits are trying to lean into to carve out a space of victimhood for themselves. It's always the same meta, okay? ICE goes in, brutalizes the local population, terrifies people into submission. Okay, people can't even leave their fucking homes. People can't send their children to school. People can't send patients to hospitals because they're fucking terrified that ICE might just kidnap them, okay, in broad daylight. Then they kill someone that's protesting. Then people get even more mad. And when the protest continues and there's an ICE pastor out there that is being protested as well inside of a fucking church, all of a sudden they're like, whoa, that's so much worse than anything we've done. No, dude, if you have fucking eyes, if you have a conscience, if you have a heart, if you have ears to hear, if you have eyes to see, you recognize what the true evil is here, okay? The true evil is the federal government doing the things that I just described, not people protesting against the federal government doing the things that I just described. Unlimited cruelty for the sake of cruelty, okay? Hasan is on the right. Asman is on the left. Yes, Asmongold is the number one socialist in the country. Yeah, here is the bovine bovino. Do you have any moral or ethical... Dude, what I don't understand about people that say dumb fuck shit like that, aside from like, you know, trying to rage bait me into getting mad at them and recognize their existence in an otherwise banal life that is just trucking along every single day and every existence is basically pain. The thing that I don't understand is like, okay, so you're placing a fucking higher emphasis, a higher moral emphasis on being a leftist then. Like you're admitting that it's you know, genuinely good. Anyway, that person probably was just memeing anyway. Let's continue.
5-year-old Liam Ramos. He should be in preschool, playing with his friends. But Liam was seized by ICE officers in Minneapolis on Tuesday and is now believed to be more than 1,000 miles away in detention in Texas with his father.
He's a bright young student and he's so kind. All I want is for him to be safe and back here.
The school district superintendent said officers had used a 5-year-old as bait after making Liam knock on the family door to see who else was home. She said he was one of...
Straight up Nazi shit, bro. Straight up. This is literally Nazi shit. This is exactly what the Nazis did. Oh my fucking Lord. Animals, all of them. Animals. This is like Israel does this. That's why we called them a Nazi country. America does this. It's a Nazi country all the same. Okay? The very fact that it's not the very fact that this is still a point of contention, whether or not this agency should exist, is insane to me. I hate the Republicans, obviously, for standing by and defending this kind of stuff. But I also despise the Democrats, too, for not doing anything about it. Mind-boggling levels of cruelty. Cruelty for the sake of cruelty.
4 children taken in their area alone.
ICE agents have been roaming our neighborhoods, circling our schools, following...
Yeah, 7 House Dems voted to continue to fund this. And not only that, but also Hakeem Jeffries also engaged in like this hollow engineering to make sure that this bill was passable regardless, so that they could do a protest vote without actually having to really stop the funding mechanism being threatened. It's awesome. It's fucking great. Love that.
our buses, coming into our parking lots and taking our children. And our hearts are shattered.
Another adult begged agents not to take Liam, but by the time his older brother returned from middle school, he and his dad were gone. This is Greg Bovino on the same streets, the architect of the policy that has seen...
The parallels are pretty indisputable. Oh, yeah. On the left, American imperialist politicians celebrating a future invasion of Greenland by making a cake with its territory 2026. On the right, Nazis presenting a cake to Hitler to celebrate the future invasion of the Caucasus, Baku, and its oil refineries, 1942. Azerbaijan will stop you, Adolf. But yeah, I mean, it's the same. It's 1-to-1. Like, what do you say? What do you do? I mean, Bovine Bovino is a straight up fucking little neo-Nazi manlet. Look at him. Look at this little guy.
ICE agents pour into cities like Minneapolis.
I'm in the gas! Get back! Gas on film!
Captured here lobbing a smoke canister at protesters.
That's a terrible throw, by the way. Like, not the main point, but it is kind of, it is another testament to how fucking weak and frail these guys are.
You just got me! We had it!
Yeah, he threw that like a pussy and fucking gassed himself.
Today he insisted this is all about criminals, claiming they are only taking people they would describe as the worst of the worst. He was unapologetic about 5-year-old Liam.
Oftentimes you will see violent illegal aliens that perhaps do have families, and those violent criminal illegal aliens are going to be arrested. I've got no qualms about making America a safer place.
You leave, you
But Liam's story will only serve to motivate ICE protesters as Minneapolis becomes the front line of a national resistance. Former presidential candidate Hillary Clinton today accused officers of terrorizing a population, using children as pawns, saying, "My heart aches for Liam Ramos and his family." ICE called her claims an abject lie, claiming Liam's father was a criminal illegal alien from Ecuador who fled officers, leaving them to ensure Liam was safe. This morning, the vice president made clear...
Yeah, trying to ensure the safety of the 5-year-old by using him to lure out the family members.
Federal officers had his backing.
Well, you know, one of the things that we want to do is send a message to our local law enforcement, to our federal law enforcement, that we stand with them. And we're not going to abandon them, and we're not going to do what the last administration did, which is throw them under the bus to appease a bunch of left-wing radicals.
J.D. Vance then headed to Minneapolis in Minnesota, a democratically run state, with hundreds of thousands.
Bro. There has to be punishments. There has to be punishments. I don't think a lot of Democrats realize how fucking angry the base is, how angry regular people are at this stuff. They are not meeting the moment, which is unsurprising. But someone who comes out and says, I'm for Medicare for all, I'm for fucking, a government jobs program, I am for cutting ties to Israel, and I am for punishing every single person in the former administration and every single person in ICE that played a role in these Nazi activities on U.S. soil, will win by fucking insane margins. They'll have a reverse Reagan sweep. They'll do FDR numbers. We're gonna do a domestic Nuremberg. Tony DeCappo literally justifies his colleague's murder here by uncritically parroting Israel's basic claim that Abishad, a photographer who worked for CBS News, was operating a drone affiliated with Hamas when the IDF killed him by airstrike in Nulo every day. Unfucking bearable. I mean, I'm going to get to that in a second. The three journalists that were killed.
Fewer undocumented
that were fucking CBS workers too.
Migrants than Republican-controlled Texas, where Liam and his father are being held right now. Further fueling speculation that this isn't really about law enforcement, it's about politics.
Columbia Heights school officials say their sense of security is shaken and their hearts shattered after 4 students from the district have been taken by ICE.
The Columbia Heights school superintendent says 2 17-year-olds, one taken from his car on the way to school, the other taken after ICE agents busted in his apartment. The school district says just yesterday, 5-year-old Liam Ramos and his father were taken in the driveway of their home after leaving his classroom. They claim Liam was used as bait to knock on the door and ask to be let in to see if anyone was at home. Another elementary school student and their mother was also taken while walking to school, officials say. Both are in the detention center in Texas, and they want the public to get involved.
We're asking to please reach out to your congressional representatives to ask for an immediate and peaceful resolution to this occupation. Please help us and other schools to, again, be a safe place where all belong and all succeed.
So the school district does have an immigration lawyer to help figure out how to get the students back to Minnesota. We have asked ICE for a comment on the arrest of these children, but have not yet gotten a response.
New clashes in Minneapolis. Federal officers firing pepper spray and tear gas at protesters confronting Border Patrol Commander Greg Bovino.
This is the other side of the ICE story, aside from using a 5-year-old as bait. And then defending it, which is obviously completely fucking insane. You also have this other side of the story. There was a Department of Homeland Security memo that was released or was passed around that allows ICE agents to enter homes without a judicial warrant, according to a whistleblower. Something that we saw the other day in Minneapolis, where ICE basically bust through the doors of a home in Minneapolis and went in and apprehended the father. This is why they're doing it.
Preventing agents from entering convenience stores during their ongoing immigration crackdown. Bovino himself seen tossing a smoke canister into a crowd. This as a new whistleblower complaint comes to light. It reveals a memo released internally by Immigration and Customs Enforcement suggesting that federal agents can rely on administrative warrants to make arrests instead of judicial warrants, meaning a judge does not have to sign off for agents to enter a suspect's home. The Department of Homeland Security insists there is legal precedent, but immigration advocates claim it's a violation of the Fourth Amendment.
ICE is saying we're going to
It is a violation. It is a violation of the Fourth Amendment. It is. There's no excuse for it. If you do not have a signed judicial warrant that will tell you exactly what you can even search, because like even a signed judicial warrant is not going to allow you search and entry into every part of the fucking home. Like you have to get all of that signed off by a judge. Okay? Warrants are very specific. There needs to be a signed judicial warrant signed by a judge that hasn't expired that will allow you entry into someone's home. The Constitution is very clear about this. Okay? Wait, what is this? DHS lied? This guy was not on the loose in Minnesota when they raided a U.S. citizen's home without a warrant. He was in prison. DHS would know this information. Man, ICE sought and humiliating arrest of U.S. citizen has been in prison since 2024. Oh, this is the other guy. This was the other guy that they arrested, apprehended. DHS said this guy matched description of the U.S. citizen on the right that they detained. You recognize that the international world order is fake, but not that the Constitution is fake? No. There's a difference. The reason why there's a difference is because you should be able to uphold the Constitution. It's like much more personal, and there are instances where it's not. And there is a court system that still exists internally that will hold it up until it doesn't. But until that falls apart in its entirety, until the Supreme Court is like straight up going, yeah, no, and they have done this already, right, for other things like abortion and whatnot. But using every tool at your disposal, is an absolute must. Okay? Using every tool at your disposal is an absolute necessity. This is a matter of survival. So I'm not just going to go, oh, yeah, the fucking Constitution is fake. It's phony, whatever. No, there are still plenty of people who believe in the Constitution. Whether that's silly or not doesn't matter. And there is still a shred of like a modicum of defense in the courts as well. I 100% agree, but you need to recognize that it's not enough and people need to organize. Is there a fucking... When have I said that it's not? This kind of shit makes me so furious, brother. You're just repeating my talking points back to me in a contentious manner, okay? That's why I said it's not the end all be all. Yeah, did I say stand back and just tell the government I have a copy of the Constitution. I have a pocket Constitution, sir. That's not what I said. God damn, dude. Fuck, this shit is so goddamn annoying. Everybody stand back. The Constitution will protect you. That's what I was implying, obviously. Why? Why is it the least charitable interpretation every single time? How is that possible?
blatantly ignore case law from the U.S. Supreme Court that says an independent party must make a decision at the judiciary to issue a warrant, and we're just going to rely on our own warrants signed off by our own people to bust down a door and go into a home. The executive branch trying to act like the legislative branch and making up laws and policies as they go along.
In response, Homeland Security saying every illegal alien who DHS serves administrative warrants had full due process and a final order of removal from an immigration judge. The officers...
They don't. It's bullshit, okay? They can have a final order of removal. That does not mean you have a judicial warrant to enter someone's home. In order to get a judicial warrant to enter someone's home, to process a final order of removal, you have to go to a judge. Okay? You can't just go, I have a fucking pink slip that my mommy signed for me. You know? You can't just like walk around and be like, well, my dad signed this slip that says I can go into your house, so I can go into your house. Because it's as worthless. The administrative warrant is just as worthless as saying my daddy Trump signed this piece of paper that allows me to go into your house. Okay? What good is the Constitution if the federal government is not going to follow it? The whole purpose of the Constitution is to limit the powers of the government over the power over the people. Okay, that's what it is. The Constitution is not just like put together rules that restrict people. It's actually supposed to restrict the government from encroaching on the people's liberties. Oh. We need to stop pretending that the Constitution means anything in the face of capitalism. I think it's childish personally. No, dude, it still fucking matters. It matters up until the point it doesn't, okay? And as long as the courts still exist, as long as there is any sort of limitation, it matters. That's the reason why Donald Trump, outside of like all the pushback that he received in Chicago or Los Angeles, had to pull out of those places because courts told him you can't do that. It's at least one weapon in the arsenal that you can use to resist. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to exhaust all options. I don't trust the Democrats at all. I don't believe the Democrats will ever do the fucking right thing, but I still demand them to at least hold up some kind of legislative hurdle in front of this goddamn administration, as it's obviously engaging in tyrannical abuse of power. Why do I say that? Because it's another weapon, right? It's another weapon that you can wield against the tyrannical administration, because the final stage of this process is people arming themselves, directly arming themselves and organizing local fucking militias to take matters in their own hands. And that is decentralized violence as a mechanism of defense. But that's a last resort. And the reason why you don't want to let it get to that last resort is because then it's fucking hot conflict. It's hot war. It's no longer a system that we can exist under, a stable country that we can live under. A lot of you don't understand how devastating that would look like what that result, what that chaos would look like, what that would mean for you. Okay, no more Twitch, no more going on Twitch and watching HasanAbi while eating hot Cheetos, no more work from home. Do you understand? That's civil war. I don't want it to get there, but there's only so much you can do until the population realizes no one's coming to save them and they take matters of self-defense in their own hands. Okay? What good is it to live in a civilized society if the safeguards are not going to work and the government is going to behave in an uncivil manner? I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I'll still find a way to fucking keep live streaming through the process of civil war, okay? But some of you might not have time to watch. You feel me?
Issuing these administrative warrants also have found probable cause. But at least one U.S. senator is now calling for an investigation. Meanwhile, the immigration crackdown now spreading to the state of Maine. Agents saying they're searching for
Do you move all off so hard if there's a civil war? Roachman would dominate discourse. I would literally fucking hire a brigade. I would have my own private military contractors defending me every step of the fucking way. Well-armed PMCs, fleet of Tacoma trucks with fucking machine guns on top of it. And I would roam the goddamn lands like a fucking warlord, live streaming the process. Yes. Blackwater. Okay. I would hire the most rugged war criminals. Just not IDF, because then they'd kill me probably. Okay? And the only way I could fund that mechanism is through you, the viewers, for you, the viewers. Piker Broadcasting Service is sponsored by you. No ads, no nothing. No fucking frills, all thrills, baby. Your subscriptions in the form of a Twitch Prime, which is free by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, or a $6 a month subscription is what allows me to hire private military contractors to defend myself in the upcoming civil war as I continue to fucking live stream throughout the entire process. I will get Graham Plattner on with a fucking M60 strapped up to a Tacoma. Yes, you are. People were like, why aren't you funding the Revolutionary Vanguard? Well, it turns out that might happen somehow. As long as you don't go to a tattoo parlor with Graham Plattner, you're fine. You might get in trouble for this. Wait, what? Trouble for what? I said that in a potential civil war style scenario, I will I will hire my own private military contractors to continue being able to report live from on the ground. M60 is outdated. You want an M249 or M240B? Okay, whatever. Closed presents. Thank you for the hundo.
$1,400 targets accused of multiple crimes.
Your hypothetical made me scared, and now I want you banned. Sorry, not sorry.
As for the use of tear gas against protesters, an appeals court is allowing officers to use the tactic for crowd control. Vice President J.D. Vance visits Minneapolis today to speak with local leaders.
Open presents, thank you.
Sprayed a protester in the face with a
yeah, this was one of the most insane. Another fucking chaotic sight from the dystopian now that we exist in, the dystopian present that we exist in here in Israel. Okay. Another Hamas militant getting put down and sprayed in the fucking face. Like, what the fuck are you doing, man? What is this?
Pinned to the ground.
It didn't take that long for Israel to be here, you know?
Oh, what the hell? The image was captured by a Minnesota Star Tribune photographer who said witnesses told him federal agents had taken away at least 2 teens, sparking tension at the protest. According to the photographer, the scene grew even more heated when a Border Patrol agent shoved a woman with a bicycle to the ground. Video of the incident shows agents atop a person on the ground, but when agents stood him up, the man attempted to break free. Agents pinned him down again, and another agent walked over and sprayed him in the face while he was restrained. It is not clear why the protester was initially detained. The Star Tribune photographer said he did not see the man on the ground put his hands on the agents. Agents didn't deploy tear gas and other chemical irritants to disperse the crowd, he said. The Department of Homeland Security.
Yeah, thank God the courts allowed this to happen, by the way. That's great. I think people that say I voted for this need lobotomies. Like, they see images like this and say, I voted for this. This is what I voted for. Like, you deserve a fucking lobotomy, brother. Straight up. That's crazy. Yeah, JD Vance be like, but you don't understand the context. Actually. Or, actually, we need to allow law enforcement to engage in these kinds of endeavors. Have you even considered their feelings? No, you didn't. I need one of these. The fucking the shit that the ICE agents are wearing now, like the chains under your shoes. God, I fucking hate JD Vance so much. I think the level of personal vitriol and anger that law enforcement agents have against their subjects need to be outlawed. I don't know if that's even possible, but there are way too many cases of brutality where the agents are clearly personally pissed off, like Jonathan Ross. Completely unacceptable. Yeah, I mean, there's a reason for it. Because you have to have animals do this job, because no human being would do this. Every human being, if they were forced into this position, would go, I don't want to fucking do this. What are you, out of your mind? This is ridiculous. This is the prerequisite. You have to be a fucking animal, a feral animal, to behave like this. So they hire only feral animals to do this.
Security says agents were harassed and blocked by crowds.
No, the chain is not a kink. It's for snow and ice. Like the ice on the ground.
While trying to take bathroom breaks, saying in a statement, at each gas station where the agents stopped to use the restroom, groups of agitators appeared, yelled at them, stalked them.
I don't think these guys realize, like, this is far, far less than what they actually deserve, okay? Oh no, my feelings are hurt for behaving like a fucking feral animal in the wild. Like, shut the fuck up. Tough titties, bitch. Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out of the neighborhoods. Get the fuck out of Minneapolis. I read that their $50K bonus isn't payable until 2031, so hopefully they'll be in jail by then. Oh my God. Oh, that would be so sweet. Oh my God. Oh, put a fucking lien on that. Put a lien on that taxpayer-funded $50K signing bonus and just make them pay restitution for all the families that they fucking impacted with their behavior. Oh, please, please. I know the Democrats are not going to do this, but please, like, let me get something out of this. Please, please, please. Something, anything. I'm begging.
Tried to prevent law enforcement vehicles from leaving, creating unsafe conditions.
Help me! Get me out of here!
After the tear gas was deployed, you can see the man who was sprayed in the face running from the scene, not in custody. It's unclear if he was arrested. CNN has reached out to DHS.
They're such fucking incompetent morons, too. Like, oh, if you organize, you would not need to beg. Brother, what are you saying? What are you saying? What more can I do? Okay? What do you mean? Do you want me to take the platform that I currently have and throw it directly in the fucking dumpster by saying, hey, everyone, rise up in arms. It's time. Is that what you want? So I can fucking, I don't know, lean into your power fantasy? I already do organize, and I already do try to aid in organizing to the best of my fucking ability. There's also an important part of the awareness initiatives here, okay? Jesus fucking Christ. I'm going to fucking Minneapolis tomorrow for the general strike. What do you want? What are you talking about? It's so crazy. Chatter, FYI, it's a literal crime to conspire to violently disrupt ICE operations. Yeah, exactly. Like, this administration is already up my fucking asshole. I've already been detained before. You had Trisha McLaughlin talk about me. You had the fucking vice president talk about me and Kaya. And you're over here being like, why don't you openly violate the law? Why don't you, at a time when there's unprecedented surveillance on everyone, but especially a high-profile anti-imperialist, anti-Zionist, anti-American tyranny content creator, at a time when the government is looking to make a fucking example out of everyone, why don't you do a crime? So that I can feel good. I can feel like you're a real one. It's so fucking stupid.
You know, you're throwing race into it, right? Let's throw race out of this. That's the whole thing. It's divided. We have yet to say anything about race. Neither.
Then why are ICE apprehending people, brown people?
He's trying to debate lord it, dude. What the fuck? That's so funny. Like, what is this? What is this thing that people do where it's like, I'm a piece of shit, but I want to feel better, and I'm going to try and fucking feel better by trying to rationalize my behavior in the marketplace of ideas. Yeah, why don't you commit crimes? Very uncool of you. I know. That shit is so fucking annoying to me. Like, doors open. Yeah. Everyone's a liberal. No, I know. The ICE agent is a liberal too. He's like, I want to defeat my interlocutors in the marketplace of ideas. It'll make me feel better. He's debating in a fucking ski mask about the non-racial component of the white supremacist Gestapo forces. Awesome.
We have yet to say anything about race. Neither.
Then why are ICE apprehending people, brown people, asking them to show papers if they encounter them out in the public?
I could be straight up.
That is straight out of Nazi Germany.
Look, listen. If there's a lady from if there's somebody or a gentleman or whoever's from UK and they look like her, they will get arrested as well, and they'll get deported.
On the sidewalk being peaceful.
It's simple. It is just it's straight simple. They can look like me, you, her, him. If you're legal or illegal, you'll get deported.
a European country right
Then
now.
why aren't you doing it to Canadians?
Yeah, literally.
Like, you're not. They are not going up to white people asking for
Look at
papers.
the
They
data.
just aren't.
How do you know?
Because I've been watching the news. Everyone that's being approached is a person of color.
Before the VP visit, ICE and Border Patrol leaders again emphasized their surge isn't slowing down. Frankie McLister was
there. He's so stupid. He's like, oh, it's not racial. Okay. Would that make it better if you just started asking white people for their papers too? Like at what point do you realize that like your entire presence is idiotic? Okay. Your presence here is idiotic. It's useless. It's actually not for anything good. It's only causing harm and disruption to the regular order of business. That was your ICE chatter? Yeah. That was the ICE chatter in my chat. That was also like, hey man, I'm a fan of yours, but like, I served the Fourth Reich. And let me tell you, it's a job, I just want to work for the FBI, but I got to get that signing bonus so I can fucking send Guatemalan parents to El Salvador and rip them away from their fucking families. A job's a job.
there.
Just a day after Border Patrol Commander-at-Large Greg Bavino was seen in the streets. Bavino, joined by ICE Executive Assistant Director of Enforcement and Removal Operations Marcos Charles, speaking out.
Where was Mayor Fry? Where was, Governor Waltz? I didn't see him around anywhere.
The people we've arrested are here are not people you want living next door to your families, your children, your parents, or your best friends.
The two speaking at a podium inside the Bishop Henry Whipple Federal Building alongside MSP Airport, which holds the region's federal immigration court. Showing those on a screen they've detained who they say are, quote, the worst of the worst, and asking for Governor Walz, Mayor Fry, and everyone in between to help them.
We're all on the same team, and our cooperation will save lives.
The U.S. Department of Homeland Security says as of Thursday, they've now arrested over 3,300 since Operation Metro Surge began, numbers we haven't been able to verify.
Frankie with WCCO here in CBS. Do you have any updated numbers of how many agents are here? It's been a few since we've received that.
Sure, I won't give you an exact number. Those numbers are going to remain law enforcement sensitive, but several thousand.
Charles adds that protesters across the state are trying to defend those who've committed crimes. Bavino also criticized Minneapolis police for not helping during Wednesday's protest.
Good.
When asked if they called for help, he only mentioned they did at some point.
Minneapolis Police Department's been called on several situations that they have not responded.
When asked about the end in sight,
this mission's ongoing until there are no more of those.
Dog, your fucking goons arrested black and brown off-duty cops. What are you saying? The police chief had to come out and be like, yeah, they're doing racial profiling.
Criminal illegal aliens roaming the streets of Minneapolis.
Frankie McLister, WCCO News.
We've reached out to MPD to see if they have a response to Bavino's criticism. Today, ICE said in a release that their officers and agents rank among the world's most skilled and experienced. There's no question the federal immigration crackdown has turned chaotic. So to keep the peace, the vice president claims cooperation is the key.
The reason why things have gotten so out of hand is because of failure of cooperation between the state and local authorities and what these guys are trying to do.
Caroline Cummings was at that briefing. She joins us now. Hi there, Caroline. You had a lot to say.
Yeah, so he spoke for about 30 minutes, took reporter questions during that time, and it followed a closed-door meeting with business leaders and ICE officers. Vance said it was to learn more about what's happening on the ground to, quote, tone down the temperature and reduce the chaos. Now, we have seen these operations turn chaotic, just like this one yesterday with Border Patrol deploying crowd control chemicals in South Minneapolis. Vance said if local authorities worked more closely with federal authorities, that the situation could de-escalate. He said many of the federal agents who are here aren't even doing immigration enforcement. They're just protecting other ICE officers, alleging that local cops are being told to stand down if those agents call 911.
We have people here who aren't even doing immigration enforcement, they're doing force protection. So that if a rioter tries to ruin the life or assault an ICE officer, they're actually protected. Now, why doesn't it make more sense for the local cops to get involved in that situation? Why not just...
Great question. Let's think. You got fucking cops going against ICE. I wonder how we got here. And for the record, they're exaggerating. I'll see for myself, but, you know, I don't think the cops are actually impeding or or disrupting whatever the goals of ICE is and, like, defending the fucking protesters. Let's be real. They're most likely lying or greatly exaggerating.
Have the mayor or the local officials tell the police officers, you know what, if an ICE officer is being assaulted by a far left agitator, you are invited, you should actually help them. That's what would work out in any normal situation, and that's what happens in nearly every jurisdiction, red or blue, in the United States of America.
Now, we reached out to the police departments in Minneapolis and St. Paul about those claims, but we have not heard back yet. The Department of Homeland Security has also repeatedly...
Okay, low key, that makes me feel like they are not cooperating with ICE. Okay, never mind. That's kind of awesome. Wait, if that's the case, that's pretty dope. Because normally they definitely would immediately be like, what are you talking about? Of course, we hold the rule of the law to the utmost importance. Of course, we're going to celebrate our we're going to celebrate our law enforcement no matter which level they're at. That's kind of dope. I hope that's the case. Oh my God. Well, we'll see.
Asked Governor Tim Walz and Mayor Jacob Frey to honor ICE detainers or those requests to local law enforcement that they are notified. ICE is notified if a person here illegally is released from custody. The Minnesota Department of Corrections says it does cooperate with ICE, calling claims that illegal immigrants with criminal records are being released back into the streets as fundamentally false, guys.
Okay. Yeah.
Caroline, thank you.
And the Governor Walz, just sent this response to the vice president's visit, saying in part, quote, I am glad the vice president agrees the temperature needs to be turned down, but actions speak louder than words. We don't need 3,000 ICE agents in our streets. Take the show of force off the street.
We have important new information this morning on the immigration crackdown in Minnesota. A memo obtained by CBS News shows that ICE agents have been told that they can force their way into suspects' homes without a judge's search warrant. Meanwhile,
veteran, by the way. Was the vice president last election cycle, by the way. Was the VP candidate. I have never seen a bigger fall off cycle than Tim Walz in my whole life. Like when he was first chosen, I was like, oh my God, are they doing it? Are they actually leaning into woke? Are they leaning into progress? And he came out hot with the whole, like, they're weird. Republicans are weird meta. And they backpocketed his ass, dude. They backpocketed the shit out of him. And then he became Tim, I will do a nuclear first strike on Iran Waltz. He got bitched out of office by a slop tuber. Not even a regular slop tuber, like somehow a dumber than average slop tuber. I cannot believe it. Tim Walz and Jacob Frey should be on camera every day. They should be doing press conferences in broad daylight, areas where ICE is actually trying to do operations at, every single day. Okay? I have yet to see him on camera other than the first day when Renega got shot and killed. The only motion that we've seen from Tim Walz is being like, Mr. President, this is not you. This is not you. This is not us. Why are you doing this? Over and over again. Bitch, it is him. It's him. And it is definitely us. Time to do something about it. The fuck do you mean?
There's a new dispute between ICE and local officials in Minnesota that has officials calling ICE flat wrong. Nicole Skenga is in St. Paul covering this for us. Nicole, good morning. What's going on here?
Good morning, Nate. ICE says it has taken hundreds of dangerous migrants off the streets here in this region. It also accuses state and local law enforcement officials of interfering with immigration enforcement, even letting some suspects go free. Now, CBS News has reviewed state records that suggest some of those alleged criminals were already in prison or
Oh, wow. Wow. No, that's it. That's literally it. They pad the numbers by going to the fucking prisons. That's why the corrections facility, the Minnesota Corrections Department for the state came out with a fucking release and said, hey, we're cooperating with ICE. I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. That's it. Whenever these guys say, oh, we apprehended rapists and we took them off the streets, they're lying. They took them out of prison. In the United States of America, if you're an undocumented immigrant and you do a crime, like you do a heinous crime, you do a rape or something, or you kill someone in a fucking DUI, you get arrested by local law enforcement, not by fucking ICE. That's not the job of ICE. A lot of people don't realize this. They don't understand it. The job of the police is to go and arrest this person. And the job of the prosecutor is to charge this person. The job of the courts is to find this person guilty, okay? Or whatever... is to make sure that justice is served, okay? And then when justice is served, they go to prison. This is how it's always worked. This is just how it works. And these guys basically decided, oh, we can arrest whoever the fuck we want. And when people demand the numbers of the people that have actual crimes, have actual criminal records, we can give them a number by going to the fucking prisons. It is not ICE's job or ICE's jurisdiction It is not ICE's job, or is it within its purview, or is ICE's jurisdiction to apprehend criminals. ICE's job is to deal with paperwork-related civil offenses. Okay? That's what ICE is supposed to do. That's what it was designed for. That's what it used to be. That's what it's supposed to be. Okay? They are supposed to go to people that have bad paperwork and say, your paperwork is bad. Go to the court to fix it.
State law enforcement supervision and Minnesota's top corrections official, his name is Paul Schnell. We spoke with him yesterday, seemed genuinely astonished by the Trump administration's claim that the state is releasing criminals.
What is this? Crying, R.I.P. Carla. R.I.P. to his abusive dog, Sag. Yeah, my dog Carla was being abusive, so I'm eating her.
Does it feel like the Department of Homeland Security is lying when it says that state authorities are not cooperating?
It is fundamentally false. We cooperate with ICE and ICE detainers. We have, as a matter of policy, done that for a long, long time.
As ICE raids have unfolded across the Twin Cities, the Trump administration has accused state leaders of protecting the worst of the worst.
The best solution is to turn them over to us in a safe, controlled setting like a jail or prison.
But Minnesota Corrections Commissioner Paul Schnell says that's already common practice.
As they approach their release date several weeks before, our staff coordinates directly with the local ICE office. Staff do this on a routine basis They make arrangements for the transfer of custody of that individual.
For months, the Department of Homeland Security has released lists of mugshots. Alleged criminals, it says, were seemingly tracked down and arrested by ICE. But Schnell told us that's not completely true.
These are people that they're in our system or have been in our system. But
they're literally going after people who are in prison to pad the stats, and even then, 70% of the apprehensions have no prior criminal convictions whatsoever. Isn't that fucking nuts? They'll be like, oh, we apprehended 3,000 people. Okay. And it's like, it's even higher than that. I'm saying like no record whatsoever for 70%. And it's like no convictions for, I think, like 90%. 10% actually has criminal charges or criminal convictions. That 10% comes from the prisons. So they go to the prisons and they bring, they demand that the Department of Corrections like release to ICE custody like a bunch of fucking rapists and shit like that are already in jail, just so they can turn around and go see how fucking violent all these like rapist immigrants are. It's insane. It is like, it's transparent propaganda. It is so belligerent. I cannot believe that people fall for it too. Go on your docu on Sundance. What? Yes, I am in a documentary. Oh, congrats on your documentary on Sundance. Yes, I'm in a documentary that is being shown at Sundance tomorrow. I was invited to go to Sundance to go and watch it, but I am going to be in Minneapolis, in Murderapolis, at minus fucking 50 degrees instead. I have a brief part in it. It's not that big. You hate being cold, huh? Yeah, I do, but you know, we got to suck it up. Anything to skip going to Utah? Man, I mean, I think I'm spending my time in a place that's a little bit more important right now, you know? But yeah. That's also why I laugh when motherfuckers are like, one, you fell off, and two, oh, you're just a Twitch streamer. You're the same as Asmongold. Okay, buddy. The documentary is about Feroz Sidwa, who I've had on the stream. And a part of the documentary that features me is when he came on the stream, when he came back from Gaza. The doctor that came back from Gaza that I interviewed.
They were released.
These worst of the worst criminals weren't swept up by ICE on city streets.
No, they were released to ICE.
In one example, Schnell said his department turned these two state prisoners over to immigration officials on January 12th. The next day, both appeared in a DHS press release highlighting people who'd been arrested in ICE operations. That same release also claimed state leaders, quote, will not let us into their jails.
Coordinated that transfer of custody, and the next day they showed up on a DHS list of among
the worst of the worst list.
Among the worst of the worst. And yet, exactly what should have happened, happened.
You say you need it to stop.
We need them to stop telling stories that are simply untrue. That we will and do coordinate.
Remember when I told you all this shit was going down? This is what I mean. New Trump audio dropped less than a minute ago. On what? We have a lot of ships on their way to Iran. We have an aircraft carrier heading there too. We'll see what happens. We have a big force on its way over there. I don't want anything to happen, but we'll have to see what happens. Okay, it's the same shit.
on the transfer of custody of people.
What do you want Tim Walz to do that one? Won't be talking to MAGA's break wall admin. 2, won't cause a potential violent escalation. Brother, violent escalation? You mean everyday existence for fucking Minnesotans right now? Get out there, buddy. Your constituents are being murdered. They're being gassed. They're being brutalized by a lawless tyrant. Get the fuck out there. Everywhere you go, bring the National Guard with you. You were a part of the National Guard. Bring them around with you. Fuck it. Wear a Zelensky-style, army fatigue and go out there and say, Mr. President, stop invading Minneapolis. I don't know, anything. Like, literally anything. Do something, man. It's crazy to me that you're the fucking governor. You're literally a veteran. You were in Congress. This kind of shit's happening. One of your constituents was slaughtered by a fucking rogue ICE agent. Not even a rogue ICE agent. An ICE agent following the orders of the rest of, following the orders of a tyrant president. And you got nothing going on, really? You're not on TV every day? You're not doing rallies every day? So disappointing.
Who are subject to ICE detainers, and will continue to do that, period.
We should add that Minnesota Corrections said they didn't even have criminal records for some of the alleged felons that ICE says they've arrested. Now, we did reach out to the Department of Homeland Security for clarity here. They did not address the discrepancy in the numbers, but in a statement urged all Minnesota elected leaders to cooperate with ICE. Nate?
Oh, so they're fucking lying as well. Oh, so that either they're getting like criminals that have already been apprehended and are in prison in Minnesota out of prison so they can make it seem like they're actually, apprehending criminals when they're not, their job is not to do that. But then when there's not enough criminals to apprehend that you've released from prison, you just lie and you just make shit up. Great. Fucking clown show. All paid for with our tax dollars, by the way.
While here at home, Vice President J.D. Vance heading to Minneapolis to meet with local leaders as anti-ICE protesters continue in the Twin Cities.
Garrett Tenney joins us from the Twin Cities as it awaits the Vice President's arrival. Garrett.
Hey, good morning, y'all. The White House says the vice president will be hosting a roundtable with local leaders, and the focus of that roundtable will be on restoring law and order in Minnesota. That's what the administration says it's been trying to do with more than 3,000 federal agents here who are facing stiff opposition and harassment from the community almost everywhere they go. The vice president's visit also comes as the Department of Justice is investigating that anti-ICE protest at a church in the Twin Cities Sunday. The administration has promised to hold those involved accountable. Here's Attorney General Pam Bondi.
Religious liberty is under siege in our country right now, and we are not going anywhere.
Oh. They're such babies, bro. They have to literally always find a way to make themselves seem like they're the victims, permanently a victim. This crybaby shit is so uncouth.
Until those people who did those acts are held accountable. Minnesota is important because it is sending a message to the entire country that Donald Trump is going to protect every city in this country. We're going to protect every house of worship.
You know what? This is Israel, by the way. Like 1-to-1. I mean, it's a 1-to-1 whenever there's like another fucking settler fair that they throw together at a synagogue and people go outside of that synagogue and understandably protest and they go, oh my God, this is anti-Semitism. Federal government's doing Israel shit. Okay? We are the real victims. because you hate us because of what we've done to you. Amer is real. Amer is real.
One of the organizers of that protest, though, says she's not hiding and completely stands by the protest that shut down that worship service.
Personally, I will not be gaslit by the Trump administration. They are trying to turn a peaceful, nonviolent demonstration into a crime.
The vice president's visit also comes a day before activists are calling for a statewide shutdown to protest ICE with a rally outdoors when temperatures will be as low as the -40s. Back to y'all.
All right. Thanks,
Wow.
Garrett.
So, it's going to be interesting to see, by the way, if protesters turn out to be outside of Vice President Vance's visit. But
That person wasn't saying
it's
that to me. Don't be a tattletale.
important for context to understand the reason why ICE is in Minneapolis is because
Yeah, bro, y'all thought I was joking when I said -45 with a wind chill? No, I wasn't. I looked it up. We had to fucking buy gear, specific gear. I don't have clothes for -40 degrees. I'm busting out the Russian parka. I don't even know what it's gonna do if trees start exploding.
is a sanctuary jurisdiction that prohibits local law enforcement and authorities from cooperating with ICE. And so the murderers, rapists, drug traffickers, the violent illegal alien criminals that have been protected, running free.
Every part of this conversation is a lie. Every part of this conversation is a lie. I hate it. Not only does the Department of Corrections actually cooperate with ICE, but ICE has no function in... ICE has no law enforcement function, no legal function in detaining people that are doing regular crimes. That's not what ICE's job is. That's not what ICE does. They're not even fucking trained for that. Okay? Everything that they're saying is a lie. ICE's job in its jurisdiction is to serve paperwork. That's it. Their job is to track down people who are in violation of paperwork-related offenses. The idea that these people are, following rapists and doing investigative work and like tracking down rapists and like catching them in, right after they did the crime or whatever, like that's all bullshit. Complete and utter bullshit.
On the streets of cities like Minneapolis, ICE is going in to try and get them and deport them. That was President Trump's promise to the nation to close the border, which he's done. 8 straight months of zero releases, and to remove these individuals.
I just love these idiot lawmakers, from the mayor to the governor, who say, I'm really proud of how peaceful and how much love is out there. Does this look like love to you? Is this love to you when you get in front of a law enforcement official and don't let them go to a convenience store, or you work in that convenience store and you don't serve them? Is that the love that Minneapolis is giving out? Does that look like a lovely thing to do, jumping on a law enforcement officer and then...
Yes. It does. Because it's solidarity. And solidarity is the closest expression to love that I've ever felt with my fellow man. Random people all around the world. So yeah, it is an expression of love. It's an expression for love of justice. It's an expression of the love that you feel for your fellow citizens, that you care for, that you want to defend them, that you want to fucking put your goddamn body on the line for them. I know this is a concept that is completely alien to a multi-millionaire Fox News contributor who makes his money by dividing the American public, by filling their heads with lies. But yeah, that is love. This is a nation of immigrants, man. What the fuck are we doing? This is a nation comprised entirely of immigrants. Some multiple generations removed, some recent, some in the process of getting their paperwork done, some that recently completed it. Protecting those people, regardless of their immigrant status, because they are your neighbors and you love them, is the most American thing you can do. That's it.
Blaming some other, you're under duress or that you have the disability. This is absolutely an embarrassment. If people in Minneapolis could see the way they're being, could see themselves and see this video and are proud, they're living in a different country.
I am proud of those people, and those people should feel proud. If there's anyone who should never feel a sense of pride, it's Brian fucking Kill Myself, Mr. I want to light homeless people on fire. I want to murder every homeless person I see. You're a disgusting little creature, Brian.
About a week ago, you interviewed Mayor Fry, and this is a portion of that interview. It was on January 14th. Listen to Griff talking to the mayor.
We have a separation ordinance in the city, and you know what that ordinance says? It says that I want our limited numbers of police officers focusing on keeping people safe, arresting perpetrators of violent crimes, stopping car thefts from taking place. That's what I want them focusing on. You know what I don't want them focusing on? Hunting down a dad that just dropped his kids off at daycare, is about to go work a 12-hour shift, who happens to be from Ecuador. That guy makes our city a better place.
There's two sides to this story. You mentioned an Ecuadorian migrant. Are you familiar with Victoria Eileen Harwell? An Ecuadorian illegal immigrant in August of 2024, driving drunk, crashed head-on into Victoria Harwell, killing her. You call it a separation ordinance. Why not just cooperate and make it safer for everyone involved? The community, the officers, and even the migrants.
My position here is pretty straightforward, and that's this. If you commit a crime, if you commit fraud, if you commit a carjacking or a murder, you should be investigated, charged, prosecuted, held accountable, and yes, arrested and put in jail. What I am saying is that a lot of the people that ICE is picking up right now in our city are not a problem for Minneapolis.
That was a great point, Griff, because why not just cooperate? If you don't want the dad who's here illegally but doing everything right, if you don't want him to get arrested, then why not work with ICE and say, give me the list of everyone that you want?
Brother, what the fuck are you talking about? Okay, here's another side of the otherwise complex immigration process that exists in this country that most people are completely oblivious to. ICE knows where most undocumented immigrants are. This might come as a surprise to you, but ICE, I'm going to repeat it one more time. ICE knows exactly where most of the undocumented immigrants are on U.S. soil. And not because of surveillance, mind you. They know the precise location of every single undocumented immigrant, virtually every single undocumented immigrant on U.S. soil. And it's not because they have mass surveillance. They know because these people pay taxes. They know where they work. They know because these people go to courts. ICE has under Democratic leadership, a handshake agreement, and under Republican leadership too, even to this day. They have a handshake agreement with all of these undocumented migrants. We keep them undocumented on purpose. Okay? We keep them undocumented on purpose. We don't let them get the proper documentation and the proper clearance. We put them in this legal limbo. Okay? The reality of the matter is, ICE knows where most people are. They know where most people work. They know that these people don't have any criminal records. Because these people, for the most part, by and large, on U.S. soil, cooperate with the court system. Okay? This is a new one? No, this is not a new one. This is not new at all. I've talked about this a million different times. I've talked about this because ICE does apprehensions at courts. What the fuck do you think is happening? Those are asylum applicants that are following their goddamn paperwork properly to get gainful employment in the country. I've talked about it so much. Why would those guys go to their court dates? Usually just say asylum seeker. Yeah, that's what an undocumented immigrant is. Thought they didn't get benefits? Wait, what? No, they don't. They pay taxes. They don't receive benefits from said taxes. Yes, undocumented migrants pay into taxes. Their information is stored with the IRS. They do not get benefits from said taxes. Perhaps the reason why you're confused right now is because it doesn't make any sense to actually illegally apprehend these people and kick them out of the country, right? When you find all the facts, when you find out that it's just every single thing that the administration has been saying about undocumented migrants and migrants in general is just built around a lie, okay? Not what you are governor said, my boy. Chatter, you don't have to lash out at me because you're oblivious to how things work, okay?
And if they're a pedophile, if they're a rapist, if they're abusing their spouse, we're going to go and get those guys. Let's cooperate. And then if there is dad on the list that's here illegally, maybe there's an argument for put him at the bottom of the list if we have time, or let's investigate him. Let's see if he's committed a crime. But they won't cooperate. Instead, they're causing this anarchy. People are angry. They're standing up to the police officers.
Bro, I swear, it's like everything is Israel. Amer Israel. Amer Israel. It's Amer Israel time. It's always like the action that the government is doing, no matter how violent, no matter how illegal, no matter how ruthless it is nothing in comparison to the feelings of the law enforcement officers getting hurt. Okay? Israel can do a live streamed Holocaust of, majority children and women every single day for 2 days straight. And the only conversation that must take place on U.S. soil is how that makes Israel dick riders feel. I don't know. I don't know how vapid one can be to not realize, that's not the problem. Like, your fucking personal feelings are not the issue here, okay? Your personal feelings are not even in the top 10 considerations in this moment. As a matter of fact, I would like it if your feelings were hurt even further. I hope that you feel the pain, even a fraction of the pain that you are defending, that you've brought about others. It's so crazy. It's always so strange. These guys are like, look at how these ICE agents, their hands hurt after punching the fuck out of another wine mom in a Minnesota suburb. Like, I don't care. I don't care about your fucking feelings. I don't care about your physical safety. Just don't do it then. The fuck do you mean?
Then they're mad when police officers have to use the pepper spray or whatever spray they're using. But the reason is they're outnumbered. They have these groups that are massive, hundreds of people that come up to a few of these ICE agents.
What is this? Hey, Hasan, yesterday I asked about how people can be so evil. You mentioned that Gaza was a testing ground and how we saw people suffer and no one cared. I don't think Gazans should die, but I also know Americans only care about America, so shouldn't they do something since it's happening? on their homeland. P.S. Not trying to rage bait, genuinely asking. Got into politics last year. Welcome to politics, chatter. They are doing something. This is something. This is the thing that they're doing. And it will only continue. Some's got to give. Either the government continues its escalations and it turns into, I guess, complete chaos and civil war, or they back away.
You obviously believe ICE should be abolished, but there are many in your party who are not going that far. Is that a problem for you?
I think any step in the direction of reining in and cutting the funding of an agency that is attacking.
But you obviously believe ICE should be abolished, but there are many in your party who are not going that far. Is that a problem for you?
I think.
Arkansas chatter here. All of us are going to freeze to death this weekend. Pray for us. Arkansas chatter. I'm literally going to Murderapolis tomorrow. I'm going to be freezing to death alongside you.
Any step in the direction of reining in and cutting the funding of an agency that is attacking U.S. citizens, that are kidnapping 5-year-olds, that are using them as bait to open doors, and that are privately circulating that they can violate everyday Americans' constitutional rights by busting into their doors, they deserve to be defunded. I'll take any step in that direction.
Ted Cruz on vacay again. Texas is cooked. Oh, I saw that. Bro, he's like he's like a rare animal, you know what I mean? Like when you see like those fishes that normally never come near the shoreline, like they are always like deep underwater. What's the fish called? There's like a very rare fish, like an oarfish. When you see an oarfish, it's like some life-changing event is about to happen. When Ted Cruz leaves the state of Texas, just know that you are going to have an incident. There is going to be a natural disaster. That motherfucker knows it's about to happen, so he just runs away from the state. Straight up. He booked it, so you know it's going to be fucked.
Can you just tell me a little bit about who you are, what brings you out here in 8 degrees right now? What's your name?
My name is Lindsay.
Lindsay, what do you do?
I actually work in real estate.
In real estate. How about you? What's your name? What do you do?
My name is Jessica. I work at a packaging firm in...
Wow. Look at these radical left-wing Antifa terrorists, chat. Y'all see this? Y'all seeing this shit? The real Antifa. I'm seeing it. The white women vanguard. White women, save me. Save me, white women.
And so, how often are you doing this, coming out onto the streets to protest what you're seeing happening in Minneapolis?
As often as we can. We obviously need to take breaks for ourselves and our humanity and our brains, but we are out here as much as we can be.
What does it feel like to have these armed mass federal troops, to know now that there are subpoenas issued to the mayor of this city, to the governor of this state by the federal government, Donald Trump? They have long said they consider invoking the Insurrection Act. We know that there are literal troops, army troops that are on standby to come here. How's it feel to be citizens of Minnesota right now, today?
It's absolutely terrifying. I am obviously not the target that they're going after, but anytime I drive by an ICE agent, my whole body just freezes up. It's just terrifying to know what they're doing and, you know, having to explain this to your children, you know, who are worried about their friends.
I think that's important to emphasize, is that it's not unusual to see these agents out on the streets here. Have you seen them out and about?
Oh, yeah. I drove past one the other day. They haven't come to my specific neighborhood or my work yet, but I'm terrified that they would.
And yet you're out here anyway, even though they're not coming to your neighborhood.
Absolutely. And I would hope that anybody else would be as well. If you're silent, you're not going to make a difference.
It's really important that everyone...
Hey, by the way, Ken Leakenstein is at it again. Leak Doc, Homeland Security's domestic terror obsession. Department of Homeland Security is worried about people with class-based or economic grievances per its annual threat assessment. Remember when I told you that they are trying to actively make it illegal and make you out to be a fucking terrorist if you are on the left? Well, it turns out if you have any sort of economic anxiety, whether you're a Trump supporter or not, the government might be coming after you. I wonder why. I wonder why they have this hyperfixation on class-based struggle. What is this?
I don't want war. All I want is peace. 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 A little piece of Poland, a little piece of France, a little piece of Portugal and Austria perchance. A little slice of Turkey and all that entails. And then a piece of England, Scotland, Ireland and Wales. A little nip of Norway, a little spot of Greece, a little hunk of Hungary. Oh, what a lovely feast. Oh, a little bite of Belgium, and now for some dessert. Romania, Albania, and Russia wouldn't hurt. Hey! A little piece of Poland, a little piece of France.
Theater kid ass video, Mel Brooks, bro. Really? Producers? Like, that's crazy. What do you mean theater kid ass video?
Piece of India and Pakistan perchance.
This is a fucking certified classic. Chat is literally too young for this, bro. This is like fucking making fun of Beethoven, dude. Like, bro, Beethoven don't even slap, brother. Like, this is art, you fucking Philistine. Oh my God, read a book. Holy shit. That's crazy. I can't believe it.
I don't.
That's what Elon was trying to joke about? I doubt that he's cultured enough to have been making a reference. I think he accidentally arrived at the same conclusion of a fictionalized version of Hitler in a theater play, in a failed theater play. Beethoven had hoes? Okay. Facts. Facts. Let's keep going.
Stand up together on this Friday and make sure that we are sending a strong, clear message that President Trump, Vice President Vance, Minnesota.
Bro's coming in here to lock me into my own fucking studio in my own damn house, bro. You see this shit? Austin literally came in here and was like, I'm shutting this door. I don't want to hear your voice in your own house. It's fucking crazy. It's nuts.
Are working together to get ICE out of our state.
Law Palestine advocate calling people Philistine is kind of ironic and yet fitting. Law, man, shut the fuck up, you stupid ass motherfucker. Okay? Shut the fuck up. Okay, I call people barbaric too. What is this fucking hyper woke tone policing of fucking language?
It is not making us safer. It is not making our neighborhoods any better by the actions that are happening in our communities, and it must end. People are dying. People, they are causing car accidents. They are hurting people. It is happening constantly. It is not who we are, and I hope that this can end, and Friday will show that Minnesotans are together on this work.
No, this is not bad. This is not more begging from the libs. This is the Minnesota Democrat Farmer Labor Party actually fucking doing something, okay? Like, this is mass action taking place. I think that Minneapolis is doing a very interesting thing. And I think it takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of organizing to put something like this together on such short notice. And not only that, but also this will be an important testing ground. Okay? Because a lot of people go, oh, one day protest law. Bitch, you do 0-day protests. You just chirp on fucking Twitter. You are worthless, okay? Please stop. It's the same principle behind like the No Kings protest. Like, Now you got actual labor unions trying to pull off a single day general strike. Do you know how fucking hard that shit is to coordinate? How hard that shit is to organize? No, you don't know anything. Okay? You don't know anything. Remember Hasan went to France and they said one day protest is the issue? Oh my God. Brother, we are in the United States of America. You have a 10% union, labor union density in the current, in the current fucking labor pool. Okay? Unions are completely dead in the fucking water. They do zero political activism as opposed to how they used to operate. They used to be militant. Okay? You start small. That's the point that I'm trying to make. It's good. This is a good thing. And if this is successful, then now it's easier to do it again. Now you have proof that it works. Now you at least know how to do it, how to pull it off, and you can do it again and again and again everywhere else. This is how it builds a movement. Okay, the general strikes took place in Italy, which has a much stronger tradition of labor militancy than we do, and a higher percentage of union participation in the labor force than we do. Didn't happen overnight either. Anyone who fucking tries to
you need to
chirp at labor action such as this one is a delusional fucking loser. Okay? Sorry. Wake the fuck up. These people are actually trying to save themselves. They're trying to protect their neighbors. You're not doing shit when you fucking talk on the internet, okay? Seriously. That shit makes me so mad.
Fuck up, Trump. We ain't fucking with you. Get out of Minnesota.
Important doesn't feel like a strong enough word for what this means this coming Friday. It's exciting to consider the power that people's pocketbook, as they say, has.
We're trying to rally some people together to walk the streets to kind of like shut down.
Incredibly idiotic to say about Minneapolis, where neighborhoods have literally 13% density and all adults organized in rapid response networks. The day-to-day organizing in Minneapolis is exploding right now. Exactly. And the people that are saying that from the outside looking in, and they're not doing shit. That's the other thing. I see so many fucking ultras on the internet that LARP, that just all they do is fucking LARP. They're like, why won't people do acts of terrorism right now? It's like, brother, you're not doing anything. Like, these guys were able to facilitate a fucking single day general strike that's statewide. Well, my method of resistance is much more preferable, which is posting deep fried fucking memes on the internet.
Businesses shut down everything pretty much because we want to get ICE out of here.
It's a protest that allows us to remember how big our community can be, as strong as it can be when we come together. You have to stand up. This is not normal. We should not normalize this type of behavior.
The people have power in this country. That's what it's going to take, is all of us coming together, having each other's backs. Hopefully the rest of the country can see that this walkout, this strike has an impact, whether big or small.
We built this shit. You know what I'm saying? We made this from the ground up. We can take this shit down and take it back. We're human beings, bro.
You gotta have heart here, bro. You feel me? You gotta have a heart, bro. You can't just put all of us in one circle and try to make us paint us as criminals, bro. It's real hard working Somalis, Mexicans, white people, all that, bro. Get ICE out of Minnesota.
These businesses are in the heart of the Hispanic community in Minneapolis. All the festivities like Cinco de Mayo, they all happen on this street.
It's so funny because like people will be like, no, the real thing is like doing a general strike countrywide, right? And then they try to organize it on fucking subreddits. Like, get the fuck out of here. You don't know the first thing about labor organizing. You don't understand. Like, you need strike funds. You need to get every fucking labor union on board. That shit doesn't happen overnight. It's like a muscle. You have to build up. You have to start small.
I spoke to one of the only business owners that is open right now. It's this business right here. And he says that normally there's this diverse clientele, this hustle and bustle in this community. But now he describes it as dead. About 10 businesses are closed, including this one right here.
People are saying, what's next steps? If they keep it up, you keep building the fucking strike. You keep building into the general strike. Okay? It's like a muscle, and it also basically builds confidence. This is how you create momentum around labor organizing. This is how you create momentum around solidarity. It's a show of force. And I would say this is a far more powerful show of force than even the No Kings protests. Like, people talk about 5501. I am agnostic about their existence. I don't think it's like, I don't think it's a solution, but I also don't think it's bad, right? But this is beyond that. You actually now have labor unions directly involved in it. They're doing work stoppages. Like, it's a huge fucking deal. And when people say, oh my God, No Kings was toothless, it's like, again, you're not doing anything. It's time for more agitators. Yes. Sure. Sure, dude. It's time for direct action now. Direct action now, comrade. I have some tenorite at this location. Please go and take it. You can blow up the train tracks.
The business owners
Ridiculous.
are his friends, and he says that they've either been taken by ICE or that their employees are too afraid to go to work.
A lot of people every day wake up and say, I don't know where is the last day when I return my family. Or
He says ICE has been in his parking lot, this area back here behind the restaurant. Now he has an employee locking the door behind every customer coming in and going out. He wants to stay open, but he says that his willingness to do so has a limit.
What if the president invokes the Insurrection Act and sends troops here?
pues ya sería la gota que derramó el vaso, porque pues ya todos, en ese caso ya no saldríamos nadie.
He says that would be the straw that would break the camel's back. He says that he's seen how even American citizens, protesters that are speaking out, have been treated badly by immigration officials or by police.
His message to everyone watching, if you can use your vote and your voice right now.
Came to Minneapolis to report on what's going on. One of the main questions I showed up with is just what is the scale of resistance? After all, we're all used to the news calling Portland a war zone or whatever when it's just some protests in one part of town. I got in late last night. First thing this morning, I saw cars following an ICE vehicle down the street honking at it. Later, we didn't drive more than 3 blocks before we found people defending a child care facility. The idea that people have to defend a child facility, let that sink in. Half the street corners around here have people from every walk of life, including Republicans, standing guard to watch for suspicious vehicles, which are reported to a robust and entirely decentralized network that tracks ICE vehicles and mobilizes responders. I've been actively involved in protest movements for 24 years. I've never seen anything approaching this scale. Minneapolis is not accepting what's happening here. ICE fucking murdered a woman for participating in this, and all that did is bring out more people from more walks of life. This is what I meant. This is what I was talking about with respect to Iran as well, for the record. Okay? When you behave like this, when you behave in a violent way to try to suppress people's lawful right to protest, people's lawful rights to defend their neighbors, when you come in and try to do a domestic occupation, people are only going to get more mad. You're only going to bring more people to the fucking streets, okay? And well, maybe not the people in this chat that are fucking chirping from the outside, but you're radicalizing normies, okay? You're radicalizing normies into taking action. Before I came, I asked a local friend if the cold is going to be minus 20 or so in the coming days would stop people from coming out. No, we'll be there. It's ICE who can't handle it. Today, I talked with a 76-year-old who's been standing in the cold for hours guarding our neighbors. I was getting kind of chilly. Even a new winter gear I bought for this trip, and I live in the goddamn mountains myself. She didn't even have that hat on. Another person put it, we're Minnesotans. We're excited to get our real winter gear out of the box for the year. He was an audio engineer whose kid went to school in the area. No way in hell was he going to let anyone come for kids on his watch. Another friend put it to me like this. ICE has made the classic Nazi mistake. They invaded winter people in the winter. I don't want to paint a rosy picture because it's a city under siege. People are being abducted all the time. One person told me about watching 1 to 2 abductions a day just in her own work following ICE. But when I asked an organizer what they wanted to see out of press coverage, they told me they wanted people to see the beautiful things they are building here and not just the worst stories and the worst of ICE's crimes. What people are doing here is beautiful. It's a tragic beauty, but a real one. Never seen you open a Blue Sky link? I mean, this was worthy. This was worthwhile.
Now do so. Because today it's the immigrant community in Minnesota that is being targeted. Tomorrow, it could be another community in another state.
We're following breaking news this morning.
For the record, this is also part of the reason why you have to take action and mobilize like this, because it's a real economic threat. Okay?